So, we've just dealt with the lineage of Ishmael. We got that out of the way. So we can continue with the account at hand. We're now dealing with Isaac. Isaac, as you recall, is living beside the well in southern Canaan, the well that is called the Holy One who sees me, the God who sees me, or the well of the God who sees me, right? So we continue with the story of Isaac. And again, it starts, and these are the generations of Isaac. In Genesis 25:19-23, Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife. Now the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. Sounds familiar? And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together inside of her. And she said, "Oh, if it be so, why am I thus?" And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in thy womb, and two manners of people," two completely different types of people, "shall be separated from thy bowels." Two different types, two different sons that they're so different from each other will be born from her. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the older one shall serve the younger. Imagine being told that as a woman, pregnant with twins. So, verse 19 signifies the beginning of Isaac's story. Here we are told Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, it says, the daughter of Bethuel the Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. Now, I find it of special interest that Bethuel and Laban were identified as Syrians. Do you realize that true worshipers of the Lord were never fully identified with the land in which they dwelt? They were always considered outsiders. Abraham was never identified as a Canaanite, but as a Hebrew sojourner, an eternal visitor, an eternal wanderer, even though he lived in one place. He was also identified as a Shemite. Now, Rebekah's family came from the same Shemite family tree, but they weren't identified as Shemites. They were identified as Syrians. This tells me that Bethuel and Laban were deeply invested in the Syrian culture. They allowed the Syrian culture to completely overwhelm them so that they could be called Syrians. But guess what the Syrian culture included? It included the worship of idols. Well, we'll find out in a few weeks whether I'm right. But this is what I got from reading it so far. Remember, I'm pretending that we didn't read the rest. We're uncovering things as we go along. Now, like Isaac's mother, Sarah, do you realize Rebekah was also found barren? My goodness, there's a few barren women in the Bible. You should check that out sometime. Rebekah was found to be barren. We read Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife. Folks, what did Isaac do? He interceded for her as much as for himself. Why do I say he interceded for her? In the culture of that time, women felt shamed and cursed if they remained barren. But hallelujah, God answered, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. But something wasn't right. There was a great deal of agitated motion and turmoil in her pregnancy. Verse 22 states the children struggled together within her. She must have been in considerable pain as she inquired from the Lord what was going on inside her. I remember when my wife was pregnant with our firstborn. She was a big baby. But during the pregnancy, I was almost kicked out of my bed because of all the agitation that occurred in her womb. And we thought she was going to have twins. But it ended up, we had one big baby, almost 11 pounds. But I digress. I know, without being a woman, what she was going through. Because I remember my wife going, oh, there's so much movement going on. Rebekah wanted to know what was going on too. And I wanted to know what was going on with my wife, so we had an ultrasound done. That's when we found out, no twins. But I go back to the story. The Lord answered her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Rebekah was going to give birth to twins. But not only that, the firstborn would be destined to be subservient to the younger. That's unusual, isn't it? What was previously shown, especially in our last session, is that when God declares something, it will certainly come to pass. My question is, did Rebekah have the faith to believe it like Abraham did? When God declares it, believe it? In the next few sessions, we'll find out how much faith Rebekah really had.